Hi, I'm Lewis. I teach at Hunter in the special education department.
Hi, I'm Antonia Levy. I work in faculty development and instruction technology at the School of Professional Studies at CUNY.
Gina Riley, adolescent special education.
Kristen Hodnett, adolescent special education.
Today, I spoke about some of the ethical rationale for including students with disabilities, but also deconstructing what a disability is and looking at how disability interacts with other factors. Really, to get at the heart of why do we need to use UDL.
And we spoke about how you can embed the principles of UDL into your coursework and in bite-sized pieces so it's not overwhelming.
And as Louis spoke of why, I covered a little bit of how, especially when it comes to online education or materials you use in your class, how you can make those pieces accessible, why that is important, and what are kind of the requirements for that to make education accessible to all.
So we teach teachers, and in our graduate program it's important for us to model principles. And in using UDL ourselves within our in-class and online classes, we model those principles to our teachers for them to bring into the classroom.
I think selfishly as teachers, the engagement piece is really critical for me because UDL provides you with a roadmap to increase engagement into your classroom. And I just love the idea of having a group of people, really connecting to what we're doing.
When I think about the effect that this has on students, or could have on students, I think there's a lot of potential, especially the ways that we think about disability and the ways that we think about how disability interacts with other features that are at play, particularly at Hunter.
For me, this is twofold. My students are actually faculty who learn about accessibility. So for me, it's a lot about awareness raising and then achieving kind of the goal of making education accessible to all from the start and not relying on accommodations, for example, for students with disability as a way to make it accessible. So for me, this is twofold.
And I think one of the things we said in our presentation is that UDL isn't just for students with disabilities, it's for everybody. So it's another way to make education all-inclusive.
Yeah.
I think for us, it's all about picking one thing that you're comfortable with. So if you came to the seminar and you heard about the different tools we use for online education in UDL, to pick one thing and get used to that, add that to your classes, see how comfortable you get and see how comfortable that your students get.
I agree. And then I also think in terms adding a tool is great, but also adding choice. It's amazing how much you can increase engagement by empowering students to choose. So starting with adding one more choice into a weekly assignment or an in-class reading.
Choice is such a great way for teachers to model to students as well.
Yeah. So adding on to this, I agree with all of this. For me, it's also important that faculty know where to find resources, where to find or the how-to. Your website is a great example for that. And then where to get help. So, I make sure they know those links and they know who to call, who is the person who helps you with assistive technology, who helps you with Blackboard, all of these things. So I think that's important as well, to know where to find things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I mean, the thing that I try to emphasize over and over is that universal design for learning and universal design in general is an iterative process that requires planning and reflection and replanning and delivering, and this is sort of a never-ending cycle. So on the one hand, we never do it right the first time we try to do it, but on the other hand, we never stop doing it by its very nature.
And I think for people looking to learn about it, they could go to your website, udlforteachers.com.